Hello and welcome to the Milltown Way podcast, the independent podcast covering Shamrock Rovers. I'm Roy Brennan. I'm joined here as always by Adam Casey. We have a few bits to get through over the Easter break. Shamrock Rovers recording this on the back of Shamrock Rovers 3-2 victory over Shelbourne. We'll also look at the women's clash in the All Ireland Cup with Linfield. Look ahead to Friday's other Dublin derby. That could has a lot more meaning now due to Easter Monday's results. But Adam, I'll start off with the 3-2 victory over Shelbourne in the Ringsend Derby in Tallaght Stadium. We're just on the back of it. What you make?
Yeah, just it was a great game to be at. A
Yeah,
good way to end off Easter weekend and for the bank holiday. Yeah, started slow, like most Rovers matches. They can typically take few minutes to get going, but started slow and then obviously Shelbourne scored just after half an hour played, and from then on it was just non-stop action.
yeah, 3-2 on an Easter Monday, and all the other results went really in Rovers' way. Pats losing 2-0 to Dundalk, Bows drawing 1-1 with Waterford. So positive all round, really, but positive from Rovers as well. Did seem to maybe, as you've kind of touched on there, about starting slowly, maybe kind of similar patterns to what we've seen previous. But I think once Shelbourne got their goal, it kind of kicked Rovers into life and into gear, and they just didn't look like they'd let up then until they went 3-1 up, and then it was kind of taking the foot off the pedal to more so hold out for the win, which is to be expected in such a meaningful fixture, really, and one that you want the bragging rights for, one that means a lot, and then particularly as I've already said there about the other results going Rovers' way. Um, yeah, very very positive for Rovers today.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And all quite nice goals as well, to be fair. Uh, Particularly that Michael Noonan intercepting the ball and then had a very nice finish for that second goal just before the half. Both Rovers' first and second goal came just before the half, so it was like the perfect time for them to get back in and get them goals.
Yeah, one thing that you've mentioned on this podcast, as well is the amount of goals that Rovers score from set pieces. With two of them were from set pieces today, so it doesn't hasn't let up in any way. Obviously, as Michael Noonan's one was an interception towards the interval, but as for Pico Lopez goal and Graham Burke, both off the back of set pieces.
Yeah, is that something to be worried about still, as we have mentioned in the last few weeks about the lack of creativity going forward when it's not a set piece? And again, the goals were from a set piece and a mistake at the back. But no, it's hard to come out with negatives from today because it was a very good performance all round from the squad, and just it's always nice to beat a big rival, really.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's yeah, exactly. There's little, if anything, when we say here about set piece goals, it's just kind of nitpicking for upcoming fixtures, and the next two games are also Dublin derbies and Pats and Bows, and just had one, so it'll have been three Dublin derbies on the bounce when it comes around. But no positives, a lot of positives to take for sure. Huge improvement. One Shelbourne scored it, then as I said, Rovers came to life really. I think some notable performances, really positive ones. For example, you had Sobowale, Jake Mulroney,
Hmm.
Victor
It was
Osinbune,
Jake,
Jack
yeah,
Bird.
Jake Mulroney's probably best performance so far this season in the Rovers jersey.
Yeah, definitely. And as well, it's obviously he's struggling maybe to get minutes in the squad. 'Cause, there's first of all there's so much talent within the squad, and anyways, which is required for a team like Rovers when they're going to want to challenge on all the fronts that they're in, qualifying for Europe, defending their two titles as well. But so from his perspective, it's a squad it's difficult to get into, and when you get into it, you need to make sure that you show that you're well capable of starting for Rovers and making a positive impact. He nearly scored today as well.
Yeah, he was
Which would
very
have
lucky not to
done
get
him
that
the world
goal.
of good. I think confidence was.
Yeah, and that was just as well with that placement in the game when he almost scored. That was just after half time, Rovers were only 2-1 up. Rovers would go on to then score from that corner, but it would have been nice for him to get a goal, and if it had went in, then it would have been a very important goal too. So it would have been nice for his confidence, but I don't think he can definitely. There's no way he will not look at today and say that was a good performance.
Yeah,
Just
for
unlucky that he
sure.
didn't get that goal. The goal's more for confidence and stuff we can't see rather than stuff we can.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. Well, one striker we touched on, as we said, we've kind of honed in on the strikers and the attacking force that Rovers have, or maybe the lack of threat at times. But for one, Jack Byrne was really made such a good impact on that victory today. He played it was a pivotal role. Him and Victor Osinvona really dictated the middle of the park. And Jack Byrne he looked really good every time he touched the ball. You thought, it could be the start of an attacking threat or a move, and well, in most cases, it was exactly that.
Yeah, some very good corners into the box as well today from him.
He got an assist as well.
Particularly, yeah, and then obviously he was kind of an indirect free assist for the third goal, considering he's the one who whipped the corner in
Yeah,
and the keeper didn't catch it. He knew what he was doing there because he started to target the keeper's near post there. And but no, yeah, another man you could probably say it's his best performance since this season. That was probably Jack Byrne's best performance so far this season. But yeah, very good. Every time he had the ball, it looked like an attack or something threatening was going to start for Rovers.
yeah, exactly. And then he was attacking them near post because Vezel Spiel, I think is the way you pronounce it, the Shelbourne goalkeeper. Um, he left that near post free the whole time. And now obviously he had a man on the near post, but essentially, to leave that much space was bound to cause issues, as you said. Then Jack Byrne's corner comes in. A couple of them nearly went in alone before even the goal
Hmm.
came, and then yeah, like as we're saying here, with Graham Burke was so quick to react to make sure he put that in to make it 3-1 at that point.
Yeah, it was a very nice finish for. I know you could say the keeper wasn't there, it was an open goal, but it was difficult for him to get his foot onto that and to do it as quick as he did.
In such a crowded area as well.
Yeah,
It's that striker instinct, I think, that maybe sometimes
you can't
there's a
teach
lack
it.
of it. And then the other striker's instinct that we saw today was, of course, Michael Noonan. Really done really well to score that goal and gave a bit back to the Shelbourne fans in a celebration as well. Him and Victor
Yeah,
Osinvona
it was a nice celebration.
shooting finger point guns into the away end.
Don't think he was nothing wrong with it, to be fair, considering the celebrations from the first goal for Shelbourne.
Well, yeah, Alistair Coote scoring that first goal to make it 1-0 and delayed. I don't know delayed if that's the right word. I don't know. But very long celebration in front of the South Stand and Tallaght Stadium to try, obviously, wind up the home support, which
Yeah, a
maybe he
few
got
missiles getting launched.
yeah, yeah. He probably
The
got
funniest
what
was
he
I seen a
wanted.
hairbrush get launched there. I was like, some blokes have to lose. It's gonna have to get the pennies to buy a new hairbrush now.
Well, yeah, maybe it was an indirect message to say you need to sort his bar now.
Need to get to the barbers.
But yeah, that sort of thing, I don't know. It's one of them that, like, I think someone behind us made a point of that. The away end was, of course, in going. It was ecstatic when they went 1-0 up. Would you not prefer to just celebrate with your own supporters? I get the winding up bit as well. It's admired at times. When they have a bit of grip between the supporters and the opposition players, but
A
moments
bit
like
of
that, I don't
banter.
know. I just kind of think celebrate with your own fans.
Yeah, I would be of the same opinion you are. Like, especially considering you're the away team, I think more than anything.
Yeah,
Go, if you're in a minority, go and celebrate with your fans who've travelled, they sold out the away allocation as well, didn't they?
I'm not 100%
Not
sure.
that he would know
It
the
looked
figures
full.
himself, but
Yeah,
when it's a big away end and everyone's celebrating and just are ecstatic, you would want. I would be inclined to go and celebrate with them rather than to try get in someone else's head.
yeah. But but yeah, but for what obviously then led to that, or led to Michael Noonan's celebration, was that moment. But Michael Noonan himself, really good. Thought it was a huge improvement to what we've seen recently. Um, and yeah, like he came on late against Watford on Friday night and probably didn't make the impact he wanted to. It's always tough to come on late in a game, and anyways to try change, especially when you're a striker and maybe sometimes chances and touches are hard to come by. But today, playing the full 90 minutes, and well, he could have had way more than one goal today. He looked really good. Caught was a thorn in the side of the defence of Shells the whole time, and he had a couple more one-on-one chances with Spiel that he didn't put away, but wasn't for the lack of trying.
Yeah, he was unlucky not to only come away and end the day with just one goal. But yeah, no, it was massive improvement from what he. I feel like people have been a bit more critical of him so far this season with the fact he's been linked to moving abroad and stuff like that. I think there's been a bit more, probably a few more vocal critics so far this season of him, and uh, he hasn't been as good as we've been used to him in the last season, or kind of particularly in the European campaigns and stuff. But no, it seemed like today was like a statement, and hopefully that's him back to his best.
Yeah, well, that's it. Himself and Graham Burke were the well
Exactly.
on paper they were the front two today. You could see just from watching if you watch a few minutes of the game today, you would have seen that Graham Burke was quite he was everywhere. In the sense that he
He
nearly
really
acted as
was.
a 10 as opposed to being the out and out
Yeah,
striker with Noonan.
yeah, Graham really was just everywhere today, but he was outstanding.
Yeah, and as
Uh,
well as that, his goal today was his 100th for Shamrock Rovers as well, which is of course
yeah,
uh, mentioned worthy. A player who probably definitely has to go in. Stephen Bradley spoke about it after the game of he's definitely a player that has to go in and well he's earning legendary status now at this rate with the club and
Shamrock Rovers Hall of Fame.
this is it. And like look he doesn't show any signs of letting down. He didn't play the full 90 today, but yeah, like what you said, he was outstanding, and even every time he has the ball, he never really looks like he doesn't have that fear of getting dispossessed, or he doesn't even have the look of one that might get dispossessed. Even there was a particularly one moment in the second half where he has the ball on the edge of the box, and he has a couple of options on his right down the flank, but I think it could be Victor that was free just outside the box with him, but he has to get through like I think two defenders, and he finds the pass and creates another chance. So it's just stuff like that that just oozes class and shows well Brian Burke he's up there, and he as I said he's not showing any signs of kind of letting up in any way.
No, he's really not. He's just getting better with age, isn't he?
Fine wine.
Age, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's outstanding, and particularly when Jack Byrne came off, he kind of dropped then nearly into his position and was dropping deep and getting the ball there. But no, he was nearly like a 10 today. I know he listed as a striker, but played like a 10, particularly when Jack Byrne came off and he was dropping that bit deeper. But he still has that striker's instinct, which he obviously used for very well for that goal he got in the third goal of the day, which would become crucial in the end that they did get that extra cushion.
Yeah, well yeah exactly that because yeah without that third goal it's yeah without his input on it it's 2-2. Another player who was on well he was on international duty didn't get any minutes for the 21s was Corey O'Sullivan. I know we kind of regularly pick him out, but I thought um good to see him back in the starting lineup. He didn't start on Friday after the return from Kazakhstan. Probably would have been a bit too
No.
much, but came in himself, Pico Lopez and Sabawale, all the back three, and well, to, I know, maybe in one case, talking about a team who conceded two goals, might say they weren't too stable, but I don't know. I thought it was still another positive performance. Bear in mind, one of the goals comes from out from distance outside the box, which
Yeah, it was a very
times
nice
like that
finish to be
sometimes it's a
fair.
little bit harder to do defend.
Yeah, it's harder to criticize a defender when the goal is from so far out. But no, I know they conceded two, The back line still looked solid today, particularly as you mentioned about Sabawale has seems to have finally got into his. It's coming into his own. Not finally, but he's coming into his own. Like after Waterford and now today, that's two back-to-back very good performances from him. Pico's always just been solid, getting a goal as well today. But then yeah, it's good to see Corey back in the squad, and we single him out a lot on this pod. It's the Corey O'Sullivan fan club here. But no, he was another very good performance from him. And Asamoah and Mulroney on the wing backs were exceptional as well. As we mentioned about Jake Mulroney already, and not getting off to as good a start as he would have hoped, but definitely his best performance in a Rovers jersey so far today.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like Corey, yeah, Jake best performance so far. Corey kind of slotting back in, and I know maybe he had a couple of times where it was maybe a lapse of concentration. I know particularly one moment where it led to a throw in where he doesn't really reach the pass. But for Sobowale and Asamoah, they're settling into new surroundings as well as the likes of Mulroney, but coming from a different league directly. So
You have
they're
to get
certainly
used to the
settling well.
pace of the
Asamoah,
Irish league, and yeah,
yeah, and but with Asamoah, I think as you've singled out there, like he's still developing, so he might be obviously he started later. He came with a suspension, but
yeah,
I think maybe he's going through the gears like Sabawale maybe hopefully was, and maybe that's left in the past because another outstanding performance. And I don't know, overall I think this win now has put the fans definitely in a good mood now. As a Dublin derby anyways, as let alone anything else, but to win 3-2,
yeah.
5 goals,
You can't
overall there's a
argue
good
with that.
feeling in Tallaght Stadium now heading into Friday's game of Pats.
Yeah, there's definitely a renewed, probably bit of excitement among everyone for this Pats game now, and especially with the results kind of going in Rovers' favour today in the other games. Rovers picking up the 3 points and then Pats losing and Bows drawing. There'll be a bit of a even for fans who might have been a bit soured on the start of the season and the dropping of points, for example, at Waterford, which we might have been a bit guilty for being a little bit grumpy after that fixture. But I think there'll be a bit of a renewed bit of excitement then for everyone, and everyone be up for it now, rearing to go come Friday for a big Dublin derby.
Big Dublin derby, and if there's any tickets in the away end, pass them on to Adam Casey.
Yeah, some of us aren't members,
Um, yeah, no, that's it. But it's
particularly
like, look,
a student member.
well, this is it. But like particularly, I think heading into Friday, it's so important you go into these games with such a positive feeling, and that's exactly what today is done. And it's so funny how like really one good result has done that because had it been a defeat tonight, or this evening, should I say, earlier kickoff at 5 p.m. Um, it puts a sour note going into Friday's fixture with Patu. Up until today, we're in good form.
Yeah,
Um, and they are top of the league still. So that's and I had, so that in itself, maybe would have been a bit more of a daunting task for Rovers going to Richmond on Friday. But now Rovers are on the back of a 3-2 victory over Shells, and well, Pats are on the back of a 2-0 defeat to Dundalk. So it's yeah, as you said, a renewed sense of excitement maybe. But you also see where the tone shifts, and that's normal with football because after Shells has made it 3-2, suddenly the misplaced passes or a cross that doesn't go Rovers' way just met with a bit more of a grumpier audience then, or support. Um, because if you look at momentum shifts, goals change games.
they do. Said that. We only said that the other day, actually.
Yeah,
That
I think what
exact
when did we?
quote.
Yeah, said that a couple of episodes ago, did we
Yeah.
as well?
You're giving me
Um,
abuse for saying actually.
but yeah, no, look, I think
It builds momentum, that's what it does.
yeah, 100%. It's one that and like to do it. Look, as I keep saying, but to do it over your rivals is another thing aside from just bagging 3 points. Um, More minutes
at
for
a
Nan
team.
today as well, though.
Yeah, sorry, just what I was going to say there was and do it against a team who you'll expect to be challenging for that title against
Yeah,
Rovers. Well, maybe not with their start, but
yeah. Maybe they're starting
in
slow like Rovers do as well a little
yeah, they're trying to copy Rovers.
bit. Yeah, well, Watford are doing a good job of it. They're just
Yeah,
well, now there are two draws in a row now, one against Rovers and the other against Bows. Like
yeah, it's mad.
it's a League of Ireland. You just can't predict it really, can you? Because
You wouldn't want to
before,
be a
like heading
betting
into
man in the
Friday,
League of Ireland.
I think there was probably a sense of that Rovers should be putting Waterford away quite a bit. Maybe two or three
Yeah.
goals. Then you go in the draw, and at one point you're thinking, well, obviously Rovers go one behind then. So, uh, yeah, it's just this game we all love called football. Well, you love it. It's a love hate relationship at times, depending on how it
Yeah.
goes.
The highest of highs meet the lowest of lows.
Yeah, exactly. But as well as that, over the Easter break, we did have the Rovers women's were in action. They played Linfield. They beat them 2-1 in the All Ireland Cup.
Hi lads, well the Rovers women have picked up their third away win of 2026, this time in Group A of the All Ireland Cup. Now Rovers travelled on Sunday to Midgley Park in Belfast to play their first cup tie against the Linfield women on what looked to be a much narrower pitch than the one the Hoops are used to playing on at Tallaght Stadium, but they adjusted very well after the opening 10 minutes. Now Ryan McConville's Linfield side are chasing their first trophy in 7 years, and they hosted the Hoops off the back of a confident 3-1 win over Crusaders. Now, Rovers made 3 changes to the starting 11 that beat Sligo Rovers last weekend, with Sive Doyle, Emily Corbett and Roisin McGovern starting. Ella Kelly, Della Cowper-Gray and Maria Reynolds on the bench. Now, the early stages were a little bit scrappy. The ball zipped across that artificial turf, but neither team could quite get it under control. The passes didn't stick, the attacks were broken down early, and it took a while before any real rhythm emerged on both sides. Now, the first sight of goal came on 5 minutes. It was a Linfield effort from Zoe McGlynn, but that was comfortably dealt with Amanda Budden. Linfield captain Megan Bell, however, she quickly established herself as the most influential player on the pitch for the Hoops opposition. Driving forward, she was a constant threat, has a real presence like Athlone Town's captain Hannah West. She linked with Zoe McGlynn and looked to release Sophie McKnight down the right. Then for Rovers, defender Lauren O'Callaghan, I love to see it. She was really vocal, demanding the ball, encouraging her teammates to stretch Linfield on the right. And I think that injected a sense of sharp urgency in our play. Jamie Thompson, so switched on, was just switching those diagonal passes like a knife through butter. She found Doyle on the right, who struck early from a tight angle, but Linfield goalkeeper Lily Woods saved that with no issue. Now, Katie O'Reilly spoke in the run-up to this game about how the side have gelled well, that they're enjoying their training, that togetherness and friendship, and sometimes players can say that, but I really believed it, and you can see it on the pitch. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, when we link up with that speed, that precision. And Ellen Malloy and Doyle started to combine as the minutes ticked by. There was a neat exchange at one point between Malloy and Corbett, but that ended with the latter firing it over the bar under pressure. It was a real warning shot for Linfield, and the tempo then continued to lift. Thompson continued to spray those passes across the pitch left and right. Malloy cut inside and drove forward with purpose. What footwork she has. While Therese Kennevy, what a signing from Galway, she overlapped dangerously from left back as she came up front. Now, for the first time, Rovers, they looked in control. They were building attacks with the speed and the precision I've mentioned. And Kerry Lockery, former Sligo Rovers player, she was kept extremely busy down that right. Still, Linfield remained dangerous on the break. Rihanna Breen surged down the right, finding Chambers at one point, who squared it dangerously across the box towards Eve Riley. It was a move that hinted at their threat in the transition. Now, a real blow to Rovers when Jamie Thompson was substituted following a clash. When Cassie McLaughlin came on to replace her, she put in a brilliant performance, and it's great to know that our bench has that capability and that quality to replace players such as Thompson and make a real impact. Really promising performance from McLaughlin. Now, Ella Malloy, she's a set-piece specialist. And coming up on the 20th minute, she was key in a flurry of chances. And following an exchange of passes with Sive Doyle, she unleashed a powerful strike from distance. Her footwork, the way she just carves space and lets fly, it's ferocious. It was tipped onto the post by Woods, and then seconds later, Malloy delivered another fantastic in-swinger. Emily Corbett, what a superb climb. She headed it, and Zoe McGlynn was forced to clear off the line. So that was two huge moments in quick succession. Now, just before half-time, Cassie McLaughlin, in the 38th minute, tracked back, produced a superb recovery tackle inside the box to deny Cora Chambers. It was perfectly timed under pressure. Now, both sides went into the dressing room with the scoreline at 0-0. Linfield surely counting their blessings that Rovers had not yet hit the net, but that was all to change 40 seconds into the second half when Knievy won back possession. She has been stellar for Rovers. Up the pitch, fed Doyle in centrally, and then with one touch, Sive Doyle released Corbett. We saw that move against Peamount. Unfortunately, Corbett did not convert them, but this time she did not hesitate. She timed her run to absolute perfection. She got across our marker and struck first time into the bottom left-hand corner. Corbett, clinical, 1-0 to the Hoops. Now, Rover struck again here 5 minutes later when Doyle delivered an in-swinging ball into the area. Have to give credit to Roisin McGovern here. Ball came in at speed. She just placed it with the outside of her boot back into the box. Such a deft touch. And Therese Knievy, she could be rivaling for the number 10 position. I'm telling you, she reacted so instinctively. A pirouette of a turn. And it was a fantastic finish to bolt Rovers into a 2-0 lead. Now, in the 71st minute, James O'Callaghan triggered a double substitution with Ella Kelly replacing Emily Corbett, taking up her place with such vibrancy on that left lane, and Della Cowper-Gray came on to replace Katie O'Reilly on the right. There was another double substitution for Rovers then, the 87th minute, when Taylor White came on from Sive Doyle. It's a very hard choice picking the starting 11, but I'd love to see Taylor White coming on that bit earlier. She also was excellent in tight spaces with the ball, and Lauren O'Callaghan was replaced by Byrne. The Rovers nearly made it 3 in the 73rd minute. Malloy's in-swinger, deep spinning delivery. McGovern did so well to react quickly to it, headed it. It was spilled by Woods, who then made a quick recovery save. Linfield survived only just. Now, Linfield pulled one back in the 88th minute. It was a cross from Chambers that was picked out by McLaren. She finished the first time over the line. Wooden got a touch to it, but it looked as if it had already passed the line. And that was 2-1 to Rovers. But that goal for Linfield came too late. Rovers held firm for what was a well-deserved win. Very impressive performance. They next play Waterford in the league away on April 19th. We beat them twice last season, scored 8 at home and 7 the last time we travelled to the Waterford Regional Sports Centre. The Milltown Way also wants to wish the best of luck to Ella Kelly and Kilcullen native Della Cowper-Gray. They've been selected to represent Ireland at under-19s level for the UEFA Women's Under-19s Championship Round 2 qualifiers in April, as the girls in green aim to reach the tournament finals for a third consecutive time. The first match is on April 10th against Germany, and it kicks off at 2:30.
And that was Catherine Allen. Thank you for that update. But I thought we'll move it on to Friday's fixture. Dublin Derby yet again in Richmond Park. Shamrock Rovers head to St. Patrick's Athletic, which is now first against third on the table.
Yeah.
Excitement will be building now heading into that. But as I said, Adam, you're still looking for a ticket. If there is any listeners that have one spare, help a friend out.
Yes, they're gone in 15 seconds, I heard.
The man toy.
But
tough game on the horizon now as well, though.
And now with the results today, it makes it an even bigger game. Like, in theory, Rovers can get top on Friday.
Yeah,
back where they belong.
At the summit, they don't tend to like go on top of the league too early, but. It could happen on Friday. A result against Pats would do it, and then obviously they'll have to rely on another result as well. Bowes host Sligo. You would have hoped that Bows don't beat Sligo and Rovers beat Pats, and then they'd be top on Friday. Um, but now Rovers are coming up against a Pats side that are in form. Obviously, aside from the 2-0 defeat to Dundalk tonight, or this, as I keep saying tonight, this evening, not used to games kicking off at 5 p.m.
Yeah, it was nice though. It's a welcome change.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely it's great to see the football in the sun as well, and that
Yeah,
when you leave the stadium, it's not kind of straight to bed.
yeah, true. You might even have time to record a podcast.
Exactly, like we are doing here. Um, but for Pats, yeah, beaten by Dundalk 2-0. It was their first defeat since they went to Tala. So they were on a 7-game unbeaten run until they went to Oriel Park. Also, they haven't actually lost a home game domestically, so that's across the league and the cup, not including qualifiers in Europe, since Monday the 23rd of June of last year. They lost 1-0 to Derry City, which is an unbeaten run of 13 games.
I was going to say that you'd think since June there'd be more than 13 games at home domestically. I don't know why. I just expected the number to be larger.
Yeah,
But
you see, a few of them are at the cup as well. A couple of them are the cup.
yeah, true. And they had their European game, I suppose, and we're not counting that. But actually, that
Not
wouldn't have
counting
even
that.
been in Richmond. That would have been in
Oh,
Tala. That would have been in Tala anyway,
yeah.
their European game.
Well, when they played Besiktas in the qualifiers
That
of the
was in
Conference
Tala.
League last year, that was in Tala, and Ole Gunnar
Yeah,
Solskjaer was there.
that's mad. That was 7-3 on aggregate. But yeah, no, Rovers uh, played Pats in Richmond towards the end of last season in that frantic race to try to get that title wrapped up towards the end there,
That
where they were
ended up just
just
falling over the
each week
line.
trying. Yeah, and Pats would come out the victor that day, just winning 1-0, but off an absolute cracker from Simon Power.
Yeah, we remember it well anyway, so we were quite near the
Yeah.
action that day.
Yeah, but where we were, exactly where we were, you could just see just the way he struck it, and where we were, you could just see the full curve of it.
Yeah. Um,
But
but
looking
I
at last
suppose
year in terms of the record against Pats, it was 2 wins for Rovers, one loss, one draw. The the 2 wins came at home. The Rovers, despite beating Pats 2 out of the 4 games, did not beat them in Richmond. The last time Rovers actually beat Pats in Richmond was. Do you want to have a guess, Rod?
is it the day they won the league in Chicago?
It is.
Yeah,
It is indeed.
yeah.
But
It's it's a tough place to go. It doesn't help from an away perspective. Not that it's going to bother any Pats fans in any way, but it's a tough place to go in the sense as well that there's obviously the additional now that there's not well. It's not that it's new. It's not. Last year was the same as well. The reduced allocation in the away end to 500.
yeah,
It seemed like Stephen Kenny made that move to help his side, um, because all the away fans were behind the goalkeeper, which obviously makes it tough for Pats when their keeper's in that net. Um, so look, I kind of get it, but I suppose just frustrating
yeah. Yeah,
from an away
it's annoying.
forward
It's
point of
it's a
view.
bit irritating. Yeah, it's harder to get tickets for, and just you can't be just don't have as loud a backing as you would want in an up like rival away team, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Less tickets, and you have to be able to get them in 14 seconds, otherwise you're not going to get one.
Just what I heard.
The speculation. Um, but I suppose just on the game itself, I don't expect this to be easy in any way. Rovers do need to take the confidence from this 3-2 victory over Shelbourne. They'll need it because I don't think they'll be given a minute. Pats is a smaller pitch. Anytime Rovers go there, it's tight. It's generally Pats don't give Rovers a minute on the ball really, and tend to press well, and they're going to go in. Obviously, maybe they're not going to go in with the most confidence now that they lost to Dundalk, but I think they still could be, fairly confident that they will be able to get a result against Rovers.
Yeah, no, they'll still be confident considering their quite good home record, really, isn't it? That's why they'll be confident going into it. Like they have valid reasoning to back themselves in this situation. But confidence would not be as high as if they had have got that win today, for example. If they had a won today, their confidence couldn't really be any higher going into a Dublin derby.
Yeah, but that's it. And I suppose for their point of view, they had to go to Oriel Park, the worst away ground in Ireland,
Awful.
worst away end in Ireland.
Just the worst place in Ireland. Full stop.
Uh, I suppose their top goal scorer, and the one that making maybe more of an impact is Ryan Edmondson. Uh, he did score against Sligo in their 4-1 victory on Friday. One that probably their main talisman, but at the end of the day, he's probably not making the impact they want him to. So therefore, when you're lacking that kind of out and out striker, which Rovers, of course, as we've said, are also in a similar boat, there's a reliance on goals to come from elsewhere, and I think Rovers are probably in a similar position that way. It's neither club are having a striker who's going to be scoring. Well, at the moment, they're not going to be scoring maybe 15 plus goals in the season, or in that 15 to 20 range. I think going there, it'll be interesting to see squad selections now, because there's a little bit more like what going Monday to Friday as opposed to going Friday to Monday. Just a bit of a that extra day for recovery and stuff.
Yeah,
And then
that
as well,
extra day
there's
can
no
make a
game until the
difference.
following Friday.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's a tough. It would be nice for the players, I'd say, to go back to that week, and for Bradley to have the week for the next game. But yeah, it's interesting to see the squad. I think the squad will be similar to what we seen last Friday, more so than the squad today. In terms of,
Yeah,
I would expect maybe an Enda Stevens to come back into the squad, or
I
again.
wouldn't say him in the starting 11 though. And Stevens, he was yeah.
I don't know. You could say, yeah, I suppose. But
He
Corey
hasn't
did
really featured before Friday, and anyways, regardless of the gap between
true.
fixtures.
Yeah,
Like he
I
is
suppose.
before Friday, he didn't feature since the 2-0 victory over Pats and Tala.
Yeah, there you go. Who
Um,
did he feature against? Tapping the game.
it's but yeah, I suppose like there's I think you'll see Danny Grant probably come back in. I don't
Probably
think
go
Jake
for him.
Mulroney will start against his former club.
No.
Yeah, I don't actually think. I know he did put in a good performance today, Mulroney against Sheld, so that might earn him some points on the board for if he's going to go into the start, or if he's going to be involved at all even on Friday. Like part of me thinks he might not get a minute on Friday as well. He
Maybe.
doesn't regularly start in anyways, and then if minutes are if he's going to come
Minutes
on in
are.
the second half, if the game is hanging in the balance, he could come on there. He has done. Um,
Yeah, true.
but it's just he's one of them. I think a lot, of course, as subs too, but definitely Mulroney's participation in the game. It will largely hinge on how the game's unfold in the last half an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're
Um,
definitely right with that. I think, I am interested to see what the squad will happen. I doubt the team's probably even crossed Bradley's head at that much. Yeah, considering what's just happened. But uh, based on kind of the substitutions from today's game, maybe you'll see some of the lads who got brought off a little bit earlier in the starting lineup again. Like, for example, maybe another Jack start on Friday because he did come off after 58 minutes. So you might expect him to come back on. Uh, but I think you could be right about the Mulroney thing, and perhaps his minutes, if he gets them, will be quite limited.
yeah, I think so. I think you'll probably fully expect Danny Grant to come back into that starting 11. I think Corey, Pico, and Sobowale will be the back three. in anyways. Come Friday evening. I'd be quite surprised if not, unless like I think Lee Grace and Dan Cleary seem to be out injured now. Um, which is kind of the list just seems to be quietly piling up a little bit on the injury front because there hasn't been any Dylan Watts featuring either recently, and I think that could be down to injury. Not that I've heard too much either on that front.
Yeah, I get what just yeah, I suppose
And then you
it's
have Rory Gaffney as well, which is just miss. He's just a missing man.
though he's a ghost. He's disappeared.
The
It's
ghost of Gaffney passed.
I miss him. I'm genuinely considering I see him on the like second week of the season walking around the ground in a Rovers tracksuit. If it wasn't for that, I would think he's just gone. He's disappeared. It's like the end of Batman, The Dark Knight Rises. I'm just gonna see him in a cafe, giving a nod.
um, yeah, I like I know. Look, we don't do predictions on this podcast, but I know I'm not going to start now, but I'm just even in my own head. I find it difficult to think of how it's going to unfold against Pats because as much as I'm trying to, and I am positive. After we getting a 3-2 victory over Shelbourne, it's definitely lift as we've said here, lifted spirits, lifted moods, and but going into a game of Pats at Richmond, it's going to be tough, and Rovers are going to have to grind out a result.
Yeah, I do think even if they win, it won't be a pretty win.
Yeah, exactly that. There'll be a reliance. It'll be also interesting to see who starts up top as there's rotation there, but Graham Burke, Michael Noon, and Aaron Green and John McGovern are really the regular four that two of them will start kind of any game really it seems. So like I think McGovern probably come back into the starting 11 even though Noonan and Burke both had a really positive performance today. I don't know if he'll start them back to back fixtures, and with Noonan he played 90 minutes today, but I know obviously Burke came off then, but yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to see what way he goes about his selection because it's managing minutes and then seeing what the other side of it is as well. Of managing minutes versus if there's a striker in form, you play him and you know he,
Yeah, that's
you,
yeah.
you you make use of it. You strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah. That's true, yeah, yeah.
We love a good phrase on this podcast.
Dude, there's a few too many phrases, too many puns and catchphrases.
All we're missing is Stephen Mulhern.
Yeah.
Um,
And some
but
dodgy
yeah, no,
politicians.
I'm excited for Friday.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be better if I can get a ticket.
Yeah, you might have to switch
But
allegiances that day.
ooh,
Ooh.
no, we've never done that before.
I heard you're a big fan of Stephen Kenny's Army.
Oh God, it's just even hearing that name, Stephen Kenny.
The Rog Stephen.
Exactly. There's only one Steve who matters.
Um, yeah, but look, it's a big game now, and as you said, there's an additional incentive. Rovers are only 1 point off. Pats are level with Bows at the top. There's a chance that Rovers could go top of the league if they're to win. Um,
Mhm.
if they win and Bows fail to beat Sligo, they'll go top. Bows still unbeaten after 10 games, but half of them are draws.
Yeah, that we were only criticizing their them drawing the other day.
Yeah, they've added another one to the collection. They might be doing an Arsenal on it.
Yeah, they don't even talk about Arsenal either. Fed up with them lot
Um,
as well.
um, but yeah, no, I suppose the other things to mention, as we do on this
The
podcast,
usuals.
the usual suspects. This Sunday, so this will be the last episode that we mentioned because it's taking place this Sunday, um, is the Dublin 22 Supporters Club Fun Run that takes place in Cork Park. It's at 11:30 on Sunday morning. It's €20 entry. It goes to Oscar's Kids, a charity that's close to the club's heart and means a lot to Stephen Bradley and Glenn Cronin in particular, and of course, as we've mentioned, all Rover supporters as well. But yeah, make sure you do enter that. Bradley will be participating. So will Glenn Cronin, Sean Cavan, Ronan Finn, all expected to feature in that. And there's some prizes as well going within that. So check out the Dublin 22 Supporters Club social media pages for more information on that. And I'm sure there'll be more information as well coming up closer to the time. But that does take place this weekend. So do make sure you get involved in that. As I said, it's for a great cause, close to the club's heart.
Yeah, and then another one we've mentioned a few times is not this week. It'll be actually 2 weekends. Well, it'll be 2 weeks from yesterday. Actually, no, when this comes out, it won't be. Never
Sunday
mind.
week.
Yeah, Sunday week. I don't know why I'm complicated that.
I don't know either. It's 3 weeks from the first of.
It's the Saturday that comes after the. No, but the Sunday the 19th of April, in the Drop and Well pub in Rathmines, which isn't far from the old site in Milltown. There'll be an event being run by the South Stand fan scene, which will be all about the stories and songs and a bit of everything, all about the history from Glenmanor Park. So Rovers fans telling stories and just everything. That's at 5 o'clock that day, but just a good time. Just sounds like it's going to be a good time with Rovers fans. What more do you want?
Exactly.
A good time and Rovers.
They go hand in hand, I've heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, as well as that, aside from that, do make sure you share this podcast as well with your friends and family. Do give us a follow across all the platforms, your Instagram, your Twitters, your Facebooks, YouTubes, TikToks, everything at the Milltown Way. We're present on all of them, and every bit of support as well goes a long way to supporting the page. But I suppose that's it from us on our side of things. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back to talk to you after St. Pat's on Friday, and hopefully there's another 3 points to talk about.
Thank you.